And we are back one last time to get started with another map here, the Rainbow Six North American League. Dowie here along with Jesse Jacob and our guest Joe from Sonics, who just got their win today, so you got to be feeling good.
Yeah, we always love
scared,
those games.
Bias.
So scary.
Yeah, well,
bias.
But we did it.
Hey, we'll accept a bit of bias from our guests. That's fine. The rest of us, purely unbiased, purely objective. But let's talk about our next series. It's going to be Mirage versus Oxygen. Now, Mirage did last week finally get to play in studio, finally get to play with their full healthy roster, and they looked pretty good, honestly, against Space Station. 5-7 loss there, though, but unfortunately, once again, COVID striking Mirage. They got another player feeling a little bit sick, so they will be playing from the team house yet again. And that's going to be tough because they're playing against Oxygen. Now, Oxygen hasn't exactly been looking like their stage one selves, but they certainly look equipped to take out Mirage today.
Feels a little bit, I guess, prematurely rude to put the tail of the tape on the screen, if only because of how skewed it is to one side. OXG, 3 wins, even if 2 of them have come in overtime, but everything about their gameplay thus far has eclipsed what Mirage have been able to produce on the server, even if they're not playing in the environment that they want to play in. It's mostly online. They've not had the opportunity to do anything even remotely close to their full potential. Aside from that, like that Space Station game, this could be a chance for OXG, knowing someone else from Mirage is down, to farm another 3 points. We don't want to say that about Mirage, but so far they've been able to produce nothing other than losses with no actual true fight back.
You're absolutely right, though. I mean, if you're Oxygen, you gotta look at this as a way to get 3 points. Because again, 2 of your 3 wins are overtime wins. That's less points. You want to get the full 3 if you can. So if you're not beating Mirage in regulation, I think you got real problems.
Yeah, and to build off of that, Doa, being able to beat Mirage in regulation is going to make you so much more confident going into the games tomorrow as well.
Oh, for sure.
Every one of these matchups for Oxygen is going to be really important in order to be able to make Berlin.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's tough, right? Because we like you said, you don't want to call it before it's done. You don't want to, look too one-sided, but we have to call them like we see them. It's our job, right? The numbers don't lie. The play we've seen, Jesse, doesn't lie. Mirage is struggling.
Mirage is, and I did think that their last game against SG was like at least a step in the right direction. They looked pretty competent. I thought that Nyx actually showed up and had a solid game. Nyx's first 3 were really rough.
Yeah.
But against Space Station, he had a great time. He was walking in on Sledge, he was getting those kills. I wasn't seeing a lot of actual grenade or vertical play. So as a soft breach, maybe I want to see a little bit more of that coming forward today. But it's all right if we don't see that immediately from him. I do think that overall he had a much better time. I thought that Benji was also in really good positions to actually find impacts. Kento had a great time. So, if we can see a little bit more of that from Mirage, that's great. But of course, with them going back to their team house, with the back to playing online, I am worried that the play is going to regress alongside it.
Yeah, very similar to my point with Astralis as well. Like, when you're feeling healthy and you feel good and you have everybody at 100%, your vibes are going to be up, you're going to feel good, you're going to play good. And I just worry about Mirage right now with having like this constant state of like, can we go to the studio? No, we can't. We're going to go.
Yeah.
No, we can't. It's like you're being jerked all around with these emotions, and it's going to affect your gameplay at the end of the day.
Nyx is still trying to find a way to spearhead this a little bit. I loved what I saw from him in the last Playday. He was kill hungry a lot more, even if it meant it came more from solo efforts. Whether it's a solo drone or he's the only one pushing, it felt like there was still impact created there that allowed the rest of Mirage to kind of do what they needed to do, which I loved, but can they do it again online?
I especially liked that we saw the majority of his highlights coming in on attack, because we really did get on Nyx for not being great on attack. I think it took him 7 or 8 attacking rounds, or no, it was more like 10 or 11 attacking rounds to find his first kill, but he really did show up again in that Space Station gaming game. So yeah, I agree. I mean, I hope we can see more of that from Nyx, because he's a player that's been around the scene for a long time, and it's hard not to root for a guy like that.
He's been around Mirage as well in the past. Yeah. He was on the team last year, yeah. Took a break, such as it is, in stage number 1. Thomas there instead of him, as well as Razor. Now those 2 are out, Kento and Nyx on the team here for stage number 2. And I believe, Jacob, you were saying Nyx was actually helping out Dark Zero a little bit on the analytical side during the major as well. So he was still obviously being active during that time and finding a little bit of success.
Yeah, he was, but I guess that begs the question, if you help the team win a major, why not continue that kind of skill set? It's not that he's been out of the game for so long that he wouldn't be able to find a way back in, because if you spend like a whole stage out, usually sometimes for some players, that's actually a pretty good break to spend away from competitive competition and then come back and feel a little bit more refreshed. For Nyx, it just feels like he's still kind of shaking the rust off, and that was evident through those first 2 games where he couldn't get an attack round for an obscenely long amount of time. There is course correction here for Mirage, but it is so slow to a point where I'm questioning if they, behind the scenes, are considering this a rebuild stage for stage 3, or if they're going to make even more changes if this stage doesn't work out the way they hope.
Yeah, time will tell. Maybe this game will give us a bit more info on that one. Meanwhile, on the other side, we've got Oxygen, a team that, to me and I think to a lot of us, have been very perplexing this stage, right? Because they just came off of a 4-7 loss to Sonics, obviously a team we know is trending upward, but then they did have an 8-6 victory over TSM right before that, so they're clearly capable of beating the best, but there seems to be some consistency issues for them this stage.
I think the biggest thing I've seen for Oxygen, a difference between stage 1 and stage 2, is I feel like this stage they've been struggling to protect their planter. Last stage, Dream had the 2nd highest plant out of anyone in the league. He had 14 plants. Before that game against the Sonics, he had just 1. He's really not been getting the kit down as often as we've seen from OXG in the past. That 1 plant that they had before the Sonics game was a Teller's Archives game on Bank against TSM, and it was a retake strat that TSM ended up winning. So even the 1 plant they got, they didn't manage to convert. Against Sonics, they did get 2 more plants. One was on CCTV, which is great, but then he played that site 2 more times, planted in the exact same spot both times, and got denied by Grixer in the same way both times. So the planting really wasn't there from Oxygen for the first 2 weeks. That's something that against Mirage, especially if they're starting to attack, I'm hoping we can see them turn around, but it's definitely something to look forward to for Dream and Oxygen as a whole.
What are we looking at for Newers, by the way, Joe? We had a little bit of a conversation about it earlier, but do you actually like his impact, or?
Well, right now it looks fine, because in terms of like who's stepping up, Newers is getting more kills and is impacting these games.
Yeah.
In place of Vertical, but I think Vertical can come back and should in these next few games.
Hopefully he does too.
Where are we going? The bans are in.
The Clubhouse one is interesting because I feel like Mirage always have that one in their back pocket in the event that they want to try it out against some teams, but against OXG, definitely worthwhile to take it off the table and OXG say no to Border. So the next 2 is a Chalet, which feels like that's usually always Mirage's option for, if not like a straight up permaban, it's one that they've never seemed comfortable on it. And when you're still trying to figure out your own attacking rules to an extent, you need a map that provides you a little bit more flexibility than that. Same case with Oregon. We've seen them try this to an extent. I've liked their Oregon play. It feels like this is a little bit more natural, but still, it's not something that's ever really made itself manifest. And OXG are robbing us for 5 Playdays in a row of any skyscraper play in North America still.
Gonna happen. Cafe, Bank, and Theme Park for Mirage. The decision will be between likely Cafe and Theme Park here. Cafe, one that Mirage ban all the time. Theme Park, Oxygen is so good on that. They go for the Bank, which is actually a map that, they've played a couple of times this year. They didn't do great on, but I wasn't expecting to see that. And then Oxygen Esports ban out the Theme Park, the map that they are 5-0 on since it released. The best theme park team in the world, in my opinion. Banning it, we go to Cafe instead. This looks like Mirage threw a curveball, and then Oxygen caught it and threw it right back.
We've never seen this Mirage team play Cafe ever. Maybe some of the previous ideal of how they responded to Cafe back in stage 3 might carry over because they do have some players. They've got Garrus still in, so maybe some of the methodology is still there. They've never played this before, and I wholeheartedly expect OXG to win based on the fact that we're not seeing a theme, which was the only map that Mirage showed any actual proficiency on last stage.
Oh, curveballs thrown back and forth in the map bans. Perhaps some curveballs for our predictions as well, but I kind of doubt it, honestly. Let's go over to our casters first and see what they got to say. I call them like I see them. What do you think?
Oxygen.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Agreed.
But also, like I said last week, like, is there any chance that Mirage wins? And I was like, no chance. And then SSG literally almost threw their brains out. And I mean that because as good as Mirage played last week, Space Station played really, really poorly. I think that this playing on LAN versus playing online, I think having to play online is going to hurt Mirage. And I think that OXG are just too good of a team. I don't see, frankly, I do not see a way that Mirage wins this.
Newers on top?
Yeah,
I mean, sure.
Short, sweet, logical. I mean, can't deny that. So 2 votes for Oxygen from our casters, analysts. Joe Bro, what do you think? Let's start with you, Joe.
Sure. So I want to say that Mirage are not a 0-point team. I do really believe that they will win something or at least go to overtime, win these games.
Okay.
But I don't think it's going to be today. Again, going back to the vibes and how you're feeling, like being pulled back and forth between, like, are we going to be on stage or not? I think that the vibes are probably going to be down, and you also have a sick player. What I would love to see from Mirage in order to improve on this would be able to convert some kills by like Nyx and Melted, who are getting kills and wins, and then have them get traded by players like Benji or Kento, who have a lot of kills and losses, and enable them to trade your teammates, get kills, and maybe win the round that way. But I want to see that coordination come from Mirage, but I just don't see it yet, so Oxygen.
All right, Oxygen. Jesse?
Yeah, I think Mirage are a stinky team. I don't think they're going to win this. I'm going to go for Oxygen.
Ouch.
All right, there you go. Jacob?
I just don't see Mirage as a team that will be able to exploit any of the weaknesses OXG so far have demonstrated. I will join Jesse on the stinky train. It'll be an OXG win.
You know, I've got a feeling I know which way the fan vote is going to go. So let's see which way the coin goes, because this could be another everybody picks a team and dooms them.
So
This
we're
could
actually
be another
hoping the
curse.
coin flips to Mirage.
Well, so here's the thing. It's going to be heads, Mirage. It's going to be tails, Oxygen. Now, the coin has picked Mirage 3 out of 4 times. So the coin, clearly a Mirage fan. Well, let's see what it is for today.
Heads, please.
Oh,
man.
I'm behind me again.
That was
there.
another one.
I know. It's been wild today. It's heads. Coin says Mirage. All right. There you go. I mean, the coin likes Mirage. What can you say? 4 out of 5 times already. It's picked it. 5 out of 5 times it's been wrong. Wait, no. 1 out of 5 times it's been right. I don't know.
Leave the math to these two.
I was
We don't have to worry.
Right. The fans say Oxygen. I can predict it with my psychic powers. Yes, there we go. That is it. So everybody put the coin saying Oxygen is going to take this one. And that is where we're going to leave it as we check out our community poll. What is the final question of the day? It's going to be, who will score a higher kill death? Interesting. I think I'd probably have to go.
Bird or
A
Nyx?
little unfair, but okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go.
Put Kento there
You can
instead.
vote though. Jump on Twitter. Let us know. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, the final map of the day, Oxygen versus Mirage. We'll see who takes it right after this.
Close to you, close to you. My walls are down, they've been burned to the ground by the voice of an angel. Don't say a word before someone gets hurt, it's just too much to handle. My mind explodes, I can feel my bones shaking to the beat of my bleeding heart. An overload, don't know how this goes, but I'm pretty sure you just made my world stop. I can't believe my eyes when I get close to you, close to you, close to you. So pretty I could die. I can't be close to you, close to you, close to you, close to you. Close to you, close to you, close to you. Close to you, close to you, close to you. If you're as perfect under the surface, I don't know what I will do. 'Cause I can't believe my eyes when I get close to you, close to you, close to you, close to you. Close to you, close to you, close to you. Close to you, close to you, close to you, close to you.
I'm Benji Mullah, and this is the R6 NAL.
Of the day, the winless Mirage goes up against OXG, and slowly but steadily, Mirage have been improving their fortunes. Just not enough to get a W yet, but they're closing in on it. Do they do it today against OXG?
I think Drobo had a good point when he said that he doesn't think that they're a 0-point team. They will eventually go OT at the least, or perhaps even get a victory down the line. I don't think so today, by the way. I don't think so. Maybe tomorrow, maybe a different matchup. Not against OXG, not online. I don't think that's the case.
I mean, OXG has been a formidable team in North America for a long, long time, though they have 3 wins and 1 loss so far in Stage 2. 2 of those victories come in overtime, which has denied them the points that they feel, or maybe feel they so rightly deserve. We're going to a map that has not been played, by the way, by this Mirage core, as the desk touched on. This Kafe map not touched by this new look of Mirage, so we're in uncharted waters, friends. Let's get underway. Starting on defense is Mirage. They ban out Floor as a utility-heavy operator. Tons of explosive potential with those explosive Rotero drones. Oxygen's turn to ban. And what are they going to get rid of?
Maverick.
Maverick, all right.
Okay, not as common on Kafe because only really useful for the basement bombs out of all things,
Where?
but that's the first floor of all things. Thank you very much. Valkyrie follows troop. That is a common one, of course, because the information game is so big on Kafe in general, especially on reading defense and top defense on cocktail bar. And to close it off, will it be a mirror? It will be a mirror.
It will be.
See how I said it before it showed this time? I'm learning.
You are so cool.
So
Has anybody ever told you how cool you are, Nick?
Not since I retired, no. It's like my life just trended downhill.
Because you're
since then.
washed now, plus you fell off.
Yeah, plus ratio and all that stuff.
All that stuff.
All that stuff. You know, the great thing about is that once I was great, you've always been mid. So at least I have the past over you. You used to cast me winning finals. Now you cast with me. Like, you downgraded.
I downgraded. You went from winning finals to talking about them. Who really downgraded? I'm still in the same spot that I was. I'm still sitting on the same side of the desk, different continent, but I'm still here, same spot. I don't think you can. I don't think you can look at me and point your finger at me being the one who's fallen off, when in reality,
fine.
You went from winning championships to leaving, and now your region sucks. So
does that mean that maybe I was a part of Europe's dominance? Yes, perhaps. Or also maybe just that we, compete in a very different metagame. It's a different game back then.
Hold on a second. Let me huff the NA copium.
Okay. Oh my god.
Europe wasn't anything unless Penta was there. There we go. Okay, I feel better now.
One team region.
I just loved how boneheaded that analysis was. If it wasn't for Penta, then Europe wouldn't have won anything. And it's like, if it wasn't for this hole in my head, there'd be a brain in there. How crazy is that? We love things that correlate. Anywho, it's not the basement, it's the first floor. It's a kitchen defense. The double kitchen, no longer bakery here on Kafe. This is a holdover.
I love the Fuse pick from Dream. I know Dream is a big fan of funky operators, and honestly, Fuse for a kitchen attack is not that much of a troll pick as you might think.
It's the Heartbreach gadget too available.
Exactly, you get more value. So you get Heartbreach gadget with the hatch, you get soft destruction, once you get mining control, you just gotta work your way top down. That's what we're gonna do right now. Rappel comes in, Kento falls backwards, I thought it said Newer's banger for a second there. Newer's gonna go on in.
Newer's bonger. There's Matt Bonger is what people keep calling themselves. Yeah. I don't know why. It's everywhere. But anyway, Benji takes down the very first player into the building. Vertical, down you go. Mirage get the opening pick.
That they do. Of course, OXG right on their trail, tracking them down. Newer's looking to get active with Foxy doing a bit of vertical damage. Open up that soft wall to deny the hedge drop in case anybody's still roaming around. But the thing is, every member of Mirage is falling back all the way to the bomb site because the dining hatch is indeed reinforced. Now, half the round is over, and you got a kill in defense. This is boding quite well so far. But the thing is, you have smoke grenades on Lax in the gridlock, you got a Heartbreed secondary gadget on the Dream, and you got the Fuse to create a ton of destruction. You can still go for a backside dining hatch drop execute because you have the tools and the time to do so. And besides the Toxic Babes and Marm, there's no real bombs or plant deny rather from the side of Mirage.
I want to point out as well as we get underway with a minute to go, the execute here, hard breach going down, and then the cluster charges will follow from Dream. See if there's Nitrocell that goes. There's an Azami on the board, by the way.
Yes, there is.
Azami escapes the operator ban phase, which is a bit of a rarity, but still gets in that position. Here go the cluster charges. On to Drone to prevent a potential flank Kiba barriers can be applied as mobile cover, but can also be used to patch up these holes in the wall and the floor, as you see. Kill from Nurs comes in, down goes Laxing, they'll tussle, but suddenly Benji, out of nowhere, has picked up 3 kills to his name. Limited HP. 2 more players from OXG to be found. They're in a troubling spot, and through this bar, and Benji continues to do significant damage. His fate might be met with a nade going on in, and that's all she wrote. Oxygen still trails, 15 seconds left. Dream drops as the cluster charges go off. And lead good target prioritization. Doesn't seem to know where these players are from Mirage and Kento. He's the one on the flu game today. Says, Dream, you're going to bed. Maybe a bit early. Fox Ace assesses the situation, gets an impact kill, and you know he secures it. Just for good measure, Mirage win the very first round.
Mirage are playing in a very dark room, I just noticed. If that was me, my eyes would start to hurt about 4 rounds in, but hopefully that's not the case for them, because that would be bad. Good start for Mirage. They get the opening kill, they get the round, and of course Kento got to kind of pop off a little bit there, finding multiple kills in the round. 3 apiece, that is, on the alibi. That's going to take us all the way from downstairs of kitchen all the way upstairs to the cocktail bar instead. And a bit of a rotation here as it's Marm's turn on the alibi, a very aggressive operator that we see being played more and more. And I'm going to take it as Benji, who popped off with a 3K last round, not Kento. He got 1. 1 is still better than 0. OXG had a very quick beginning to that round, and they're kind of chasing, not Ghost because they did shoot back, but they're kind of just chasing overly aggressively, perhaps not respecting Mirage as much as they should have, and therefore they fell early on. See a bit of attack or repick shenanigans being played out. Laxing going for the Thatcher and Vertical going on to the Nuke instead. This will give you a grenade set more to work with, some creeping around downstairs, and of course the Thatcher will help you open up those walls. Big thing here is because kitchen is now locked, Dream will go into a proper or like a real hard breach operator. Hibana is typically played a lot more than Ace and Kafe because you get the flashbangs. You want to have as much ADS clear as possible, and since Ace doesn't bring any projectiles outside the gadget, Hibana seems to be the favor on this map.
That's a very different change-up in terms of these operator lineups from OXG.
Yeah.
Nook being brought as well. Why? Because if you get into white stairs, you can go up very quickly and very quietly. And, shh, and then Nook will get to the top. Very sneaky beaky, if you want to call it that. Melted will anchor down inside of Piano with all of these different Kiba barriers, swatting away at any drones that find their way on in. Nade primed and ready, but it's caught by a magnet. Off it will go. No damage done to the Azami. Immediately, Melted finds it the right opportunity to drop off. Oh, Nurse. This is some good vision to be able to see that far down on almost the opposite side of the map, shrugging off a tiny bit of damage. Nurs finds himself in these boneheaded interactions quite a lot, where he decides to take an engagement that is so disadvantageous and then ends up getting punished for it. And suddenly you lose the 2 nades of the Finka, suddenly you lose the adrenal surges. Instead, look who's in the middle of the bomb site. Vert, there's a crossfire. OXG are just filtering into their death. There's chaos. As Mirage have the 2 opening picks in this round.
OXG are not playing together at all. It's kind of storming in like mindlessly almost, it seems like. And there's no trade, no refrag. C4 comes out. I mean, now it's a 2v5.
You know what this is, Nick?
What?
This is OXG not respecting Mirage at all. This is absolutely what it is. It is them trying to think that they can just pull their brains out of their skulls and walk in and take the fight to Mirage and win, but Mirage is far more structured. And I know that the devs speculated, as it's now a 5v2, and we seem primed and ready for Mirage to be able to take this round, that this might have been a bait by Mirage, and they got, what was it, like double, they threw a curveball and then it got thrown back? No, it doesn't seem that way. Mirage structurally are doing mighty fine. Oxygen are not giving it the respect it deserves. And now, as we said, you have this 5v2. Clearing out the alibi, that's the first kill for OXG, a second from Newers, and almost one onto the Melted or Zami of Melted. It's a quarterback position as well from Dream. Newers watching, knows that somebody's over towards Piano. It's Nyx, and spotted out. Look at Newers, look at what he can do. 3 kills inside of back of the bar. There's no time for that, is what that is. No time whatsoever. 25 seconds left. Dream in a 1v2. He'll flash. Shoots a clone, gives his position away. Not ideal. Melted and Kento to hold out. A reload comes in from the Type 89. Tough spot for Dream to be in. He'll push against the Wamai, but it's Kento to hold the angle and get the final 2 kills. Mirage off to a good start. Oxygen really needs to start playing a touch more seriously.
Yeah, they do. And I mean, I'm not sure if they're just, as you mentioned, like expecting this to be like a rollover, like it's too easy. But at the very least, this game will take longer now because if OXG wants to actually win now, they gotta start trying. Mirage got 2 rounds already. And even if OXG were to change up their playstyle and their performance right now, Mirage is still in a good position to take even more rounds off them. And this could be one of those moments where we might just see Mirage get points by taking OXG to overtime on Kafe of all places. So let's keep an eye on the structure of OXG and how they're playing the Kafe map, because in the first 2 rounds, it's not really up to par of what we expect from players like this or a team like OXG. Mirage obviously trying very, very hard right now. They want to get their first dub, they still want to get on the board, and they of course want to show that they're not just a rollover team that teams will see as like 3 points every single week when they get played against. So this round they're going for a wall deny strat. So I expect all these 4 walls getting reinforced. You got the kite claws below, you got the jammers, and you got the castle barricade. So this is the defending team creating a puzzle for the attackers to solve with a mixture of hard destruction, soft destruction, and drone information game. And when you're running just into the building like OXGR, I do think that this is the exact kind of playstyle you want to use in defense, because they're not going to slow down and think about how to problem solve this efficiently, and that's where she might just either lose people in the process or too many resources have to be worth it. I have no idea what Nyx is doing proning on the floor like that, but he's out of the position, puts down his final jammer, and he does not die, so that's all good.
I mean, frankly, this has been a confusing start to the matchup anyway, but either who. Kento in the same spot that he was in before, was melted actually in that spot before, but playing aggressively in piano. No Kiba barriers to be had. Azami, who escaped the operator ban, is absent for the very first round on Kafe. Almost 1 minute off of the clock. Top floor bomb site goes in Mirage's favor. Bottom floor bomb site goes in Mirage's favor, so then of course they have to go to the middle floor. You've got both bomb sites that are doable. It's a reading hold in this case.
Yep. Reading being the preferred of the two. Mining, gets played sometimes, but more often when Mirror is open, where this time around she is banned off. Newer's not finding these quote-unquote easy kills that normally I feel like he would find, so Mirage to get away with a 5v5 situation as OXG trying to work their way through the first floor now. It's a limited take. They're not going to take all of the top floor control. They're not going to challenge this setup above. Maybe that entire freezer cancel barricade shenanigans kind of made them afraid of challenging.
Laxing favors this gridlock operator. We've seen OXG bring her out before on a map like Kafe, good at cutting off those crosses. Melted first kill on the vertical. Mirage on these opening duels, playing so well and winning again, but it was also a solo entry from OXG for another round. They're just giving Mirage so many openings and so many opportunities, and again, you have to respect this Mirage defense, and I don't honestly believe OXG is doing that.
No, not yet in this 3rd round, so it's looking quite bad for them. Let's see if they can get something done here. Dream opened up the wall for a line of sight, so Marm is forced back deeper into bomb site itself. Has a C4 in pocket if she needs it. Her position here is crucial.
A small opening into the reading wall gives Newers a line of sight towards White Stairs. Grenade now too to clear away anything at the doorway, maybe distract. Great patience from Mirage. As much as we are admonishing OXG, Mirage are really capitalizing off of this. Melted is down for the count, but 2 kills from Mirage come raining in. Nyx traded out. Diffuser being planted inside of Dining. Nitro self from Marm against the wall will claim Dream. Beautifully timed, leaving the longest serving member of this roster, Foxe, in a 1v4. He doesn't have much to go off of. Previously on that first round, he got an exit kill, but that was it. He sees the alibi, takes out Benji, immediately turns on the Kaid, but Marm shuts him down. Mirage, mighty fine. That's a perfect rotation. They're up 3-0.
That they are. Let's see if they go mining and show us all 4 for 4, if they're going to go downstairs to kitchen instead. And I mean, is OXG even going to take it? They are actually going to take a timeout. Yeah, okay, so maybe someone has realized that there's some shenanigans going on right now and things that should not be occurring in the server. So let's get the people gathered back up, and it almost feels like we're watching a scrim from like as a fly on the wall, you know? Like I feel like
it has scrimmy vibes. It very much does have scrimmy vibes. I'll agree with you on that one.
This is like an OXG average scrim, it feels like right now, because they're not really phased by it looks like. Hopefully Redeemer, the coach behind him, will be able to tell them, guys, like, get back into it. Like, I know we're playing from home. I know this is where we scrim from and we practice to get better. But this is a real game of the NAL Pro League, and we need these points to go to the Major, so get back in there.
Not just Major, but also Six
Also
Invitational.
SI.
Oxygen made it to the Charlotte Major. They're one of the 4 NA teams to do that. They're getting a leg up from the fact that Astralis right now are not exactly in the best position to qualify, right? So suddenly, you are now in a position where you have a perfect opportunity to solidify yourself and maybe make it, pick up some very big points for SI, go to Berlin, who doesn't want a trip to Germany?
True.
But, I mean, against Mirage, I agree with Joe and I agree with the desk. I don't think Mirage is a 0-point team. But so far through their performance, being candid, I think it's a long shot for Mirage to beat any of the teams in the NAL right now. Unless a team has a really, really bad day or Mirage grinds out one map and one map in particular and they have a terrific day, I think there's just a lot of ground that Mirage as a roster needs to make up. Now, they don't have the potential, but they're just not there yet.
Agreed.
Of course, crazy things happen in best of ones. I don't think Mirage will go pointless either. But against a team like OXG, OXG have now given 2 rounds to Mirage that Mirage, not that they didn't deserve, but they didn't really need to work for. Mirage's defenses have still looked good, actually better structured than I expect on a Kafe matchup. And in that previous round, excellent patience from Mirage, playing off all of those isolations, playing off those picks. Those are things to credit Mirage with. But we can't help but notice that OXG should have been in better shape and should not be down 0-3 based on just the team's potential. Yet OXG are entering solo and doing some goofy things. Mirage are punishing them, of course, but it isn't necessarily as well deserved as it should be. And, well, okay. That's a well-read pick on Nikento. OXG finally draw first blood in this matchup. It only took 4 rounds.
You just had that community poll as well. Who's going to have a higher KD, Nux or Vertical? And a lot of people are like, that's not really a fair comparison. But before that opening kill from Vert, he was 0-3 and Nux were 2-3. And of course, you are only on round 4. There is more to come. But it's one of those entirely weird, lopsided situations. But look at this. Newer is finding melted as well. Now 5v3 in favor of OXG. And perhaps this timeout is the mark on the ground that says this is where OXG will change up their playstyle. Because we can already tell right now they're playing a different game. Playing it much slower, playing more together. We got to push up white stairs, repel cocktail window. We've drawn out top floor. We know it's clear. We saw that they dropped. It's a mining defense. So half the bombs, or half the map, sorry, has been granted in control to the attackers. Unless Benji gets a kill here, it's not looking so good. Nice shot.
Benji Mula takes that one to the bank. Down goes Vertical. Cut off of the wire. Mirage still trail in numbers. So OXG playing tighter as you said, but they just received the bit of a welcome from Benji on white stairs, and maybe not the best of ways. Fox A up top with Marm down below, assessing as the sledge continues to slam through the floor. Dream not too far off. Have they droned out Marm? That's the real question. Because she's playing right now, potentially unheard of, unseen.
Ooh. That's a lazy drone. I don't think they saw her.
I don't think so either. Nyx decides to peek brown stairs, gets gunned down by 2 separate players of OXG. Laxing is the one to capitalize off of it. Good patience from Marm. Patience has been one of the best aspects of Mirage so far. Marm creeps up, understanding that the diffuser is being planted, shuts down Dream. Her position's been given away. The only teammate she has at her side is Benji. They can watch the same opening. But Benji will also need to cover over towards reading. 20 seconds left, and the bigger issue for Marm is that she's standing next to a soft wall. But that doesn't matter, because she guns down Newers. She knows that she might be pushed from train, and she does, but she just can't out-duel Fox A. That kill from Fox A is enough to give his team the round victory, and like that, OXG are on the board.
Yep, so timeout taken, and all of a sudden we turn on a little bit better here. Of course, they got the opening kill and the second to follow up, so it was like an easier situation for them to deal with. They still did miss-drone Marm inside a train, not a huge issue in that regard, but it's small things like that that can cost you rounds, or at the very least cost you members on the roster. Kitchen now, as we've made a full rotation this time. All 4 bomb sites are now back to the beginning that we go. Interesting shield inside a closet, not very typical, but it enforces that position further in case anybody comes in that main door or perhaps walks down brown stairs itself. Laxing doing most of the flexing right now together with Vertical, going between Gridlock and the Nomad. Then Vertical doing either Sophia, Thatcher, or Nuke so far. Last time was a kitchen attack. We saw no real Heartbreach operator. We just saw the fuse with the secondary Heartbreach gadget. This time it's Thermite from Dream that will bring those likely smoke grenades to help mask where they're going to be planting or what they will be doing once they get there. Mind you, the Maverick is banned, so no direct attack is necessarily as viable of an option unless you bring the Thatcher, which of course is what OXG has done. So they can go for direct if they want, they can clear it if they want to. No real wall deny from Mirage either. They got the Asami, the Keeper Bears that can patch up walls. Well, that's the absolute most they can do in this scenario if they opt for a kitchen attack. Which seems to be the case.
There's an air jab going off, actually quite early. I'm curious as to which one it is. Somebody from Mirage has been found out.
They're hitting kitchen, that's for sure. They're all here already.
They sure are. Quick pace set by OXG. They see the opening on one of the panels leading from bakery into kitchen. You have to just escort your hard breach over there. A bit of an odd thing to see a Thatcher in play, typically so often banned, but Vertical will play that low recoil L85 plus utility operator. One wall open from bakery into kitchen. The other wall will be into prep. Those will be the two places that an exothermic charge goes off.
There's no smoke from Dream, which is a bit peculiar because in this scenario, you don't really need 6 flashbangs with the Thatcher being open as well. And the smoke grenades right now would be so lovely to have. There's no Maestro on the board, no bulletproof camera, there's no anything really to see through it, like no Warden, but you have flashbangs. So now you have a really tough time finding a soft or a safe plant position. Rather, you gotta fight your way through it.
Oh, Nyx might be good as dead. I don't know if he gets away from that. He does not. There's nowhere to go because he'll be right into the waiting arms of your opponent. Stream halfway through the defuse plant. OXG storming the bomb site, watching it cut off.
That's way too easy.
Look at this. Look at how easy it was. Marm down, trying to vault over from Freezer. Diffuser running. Oxygen in excellent shape. Haven't surrendered anything. The only damage that's been done to them is onto Dream. And guess what? All 3 adrenal surges from Newers are available. Hasn't used one. A bit odd that we don't see a single one going off just yet. Benji isolated, can't do too much. Kento goes down, so does Laxing, melted to follow, and now it's Benji again, still trapped. Inside a coat check, where do you go? You know, he's in there. They're going to throw their bodies in his direction instead of just waiting and establishing a crossfire. And honestly, that was a bit riskier for OXG than it needed to be. He's trapped in that room. The only other way out is to rotate over towards bar and then go into the kitchen doorway, which is going to take way too long because the diffuser was at 15 seconds. Instead, give him impactless kills. Either way, you're complaining about the fact that OXG still won the round.
You are. And OXG, I mean, that round was just too easy. Like, there was only really one person holding OXG at the breach itself. He got grenaded out early on, and then nobody really followed up. There were multiple roamers from the side of Mirage. Nobody was up above making vertical holes. There was nobody using the C4s or the impact grenades. The Keeper Barriers barely had an... Well, they didn't have an impact that round either, so I have to wonder what the train of thought there was from Mirage, because it just seemed like it was OXG walking in and just planting in the middle of the bomb site like it was nobody's business. It's gonna cause us to go upstairs again and change the bomb sites around. OXG looking alive and looking a lot stronger and a lot better this time around. Let's see if they can do it one more time up top, because last time that is kind of where they dropped the ball really, really hard. And it came down into a very close round in a 2v5 that got turned into a 2v2.
I know that people will get upset with the fact that those first 3 rounds that we spent so much time focusing on Oxygen didn't do well, but I honestly think that tells more about those 3 rounds than what Mirage did right. I mean, Mirage have obviously not committed any real grave errors through these 6 rounds, and in fact, despite the scoreline being what it is and them being given, in many ways, some helping hands during those 3 rounds by Oxygen, I've been quite impressed with some of the things that we've seen from Mirage. Again, their isolation, their ability to pick engagements and get away. The way that they've been holding Piano in particular has been one of their strong suits so far, whether there's an Azami present or just relying off of a Wamai. But in this case, things look a little bit more typical. The Kiba barriers will go up. That's a bit of a miss from Melted. I don't think he wanted that, but he drops off, as we've seen the Azami do many, many times. That means with 1 minute off of the clock, Oxygen have used some of their secondary utility, and it's pushed Mirage away from Piano. Kento will regroup over by Bathroom, but other than that, a quick drone should give information to Oxygen that they've got control of that part of the map.
I think that's a win for the attackers. Only burning 1 grenade and then getting essentially all of Piano in control, and you get a nade kill on top of that. Honorable Mind sitting in a corner, no Jaeger in play, no Aruni in play. Good trade back from Mom to Newers. Huge player off the board, 10 kills to his name. Of course, those adrenal surge plays a huge factor as well, but these grenades are way too lethal as Foxy finds another onto Benji.
Was well tossed out. Now Mirage at the disadvantage. Half the round for them to sit and wait. Still have some potent operators up in terms of gunplay, but utility very limited. Melted has 2 impacts, that's about it. Nyx has already burned his nitro cell. Unsure where.
Same.
The only real thing for OXG is that their 10 kills of Newers is gone. Other than that, OXG are in pretty good shape. They've got utility to spare as well. They still got a grenade, they still got flashes, they've got diffuser in hand, and they got to pick onto Marm. Melted answers back onto Dream. That's the diffuser dropped, but Melted is in a precarious position. Sitting behind a soft wall, he's got a long way to go to get over to the top of red stairs if somebody pushes from that direction. Down goes Nyx, OXG, continuing to tear through the bomb site. Suddenly they're playing together, and suddenly OXG are winning rounds. Funny how that works. Melted spotted at top of white now. They know exactly where he is. He's getting spam pings on in from one of the bulletproof cameras, but you're going to have to swing onto the 3 players from OXG who are very quickly taking up space on your bomb site. OXG puts 3 rounds together in a row. That's the first half, and we are no closer to deciding a victor as both teams emerge with 3 rounds to their name.
Yeah, and if we're to look at this like just point blank without knowing any of the factors, 3-3 split is actually not the end of the world for either team, right? Kafe is a map where if you know how to attack on it, you can get 3 to 4 attacking rounds. If you're a really good defending team, you can also win 3 to 4 defending rounds. So both teams going away on an even split 3-3 means that we're just resetting on an even neutral ground here, and no one really won and no one really lost that first half. And then sure, we can dig into saying that OXG started trying after the 3rd round, they won all 3 in a row. But now the sideswap comes around. This is now where Mirage and Nyx, with the newest addition, can show us their strategies on the attacking side and how they can problem solve. The one issue I think they might run into is the sheer 1 versus 1 combat situation where somebody like Newers, somebody like Laxing and Vertical are likely just gonna outright beat you in those 1 versus 1s like we see. But from a strategical standpoint, this is where Mirage can show us that they have figured out Kafe, they know how to attack, and they know how to problem solve. And if Mirage can show us this, that in itself is a win for them, because we are just watching the squad and seeing them learn every single week, getting more and more rounds on the table, and eventually they will push us into a winning position.
I think that's correct, and it was something that we talked about during the Mirage matchup last week. You weren't here, but I'm assuming you went back and rewatched it. The first game that Mirage played with this new roster, it was a loss to TSM, but they still picked up 4 rounds in the process. Things were pretty grim for Mirage the next 2 play days. They won 1 round against Xset and then 2 against Astralis, but then they managed 5 against SSG, and in fact, they were in a position where for a while, it felt like they might win. Now, this round in particular doesn't seem like it's getting off on the right footing. Melted gets picked off from a spawn peak above by Foxay, and despite the fact that Mirage started off with these 3-round victories, OXG seems warmed up, they seem dialed in, and this is more of the vintage OXG that we're used to seeing. That's bad news for Mirage.
It is. Shield getting cleared out with that grenade too, which means the backside is weak, of course. OXG can fight their way out of this though by sticking and staying their ground. Something that OXG likes to do is fight where they shouldn't, and that's gonna cost them this time because Kento and Nyx finds 1 each, leaving Dream alone inside of VIP.
No shield to his name. Waiting. What was that noise? Did you hear that?
It sounded like a shower almost.
Yeah, it sounded...
I don't know what that was.
It actually sounded like when an X-Kairos is burning, but just going on forever.
Yeah, the
right?
fizzle, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no Hibana on the board, so it clearly wasn't that. I was listening to that, and I was like, what on earth? What kind of phantom sounds are we hearing? Another Gridlock brought out, by the way. Why run her over a Nomad? OXG did it too.
Smoke grenades, my only thing I can come up with. I know some people just like the gadget more because it makes noise too.
Good gun too.
Good gun.
Dream takes out Nyx, back to a 3v3 we go after Vertical had perished a little bit earlier on. The Razor Blooms will stay upright even if Vertical is not, wherever the position for those may be. You talked about smokes being so crucial. Well, in the midst of the smoke is none other than the Finka of Kento. Newers pops up from his position. He's about to get naded. He's dead. Newers is dropped, not finished off, but Laxing has the cover. And oh no, there's a blind spot. They just walk right in. They don't know Laxing is there. Kento will need to save the round. It's him in a 1v1 against Dream, but Dream can't get it done. Kento can. What a clutch from Kento. The newest player of Mirage having one heck of a round. And suddenly the lead goes back in favor of the Great White North.
That's just think of things right there. I mean, in any other circumstance, Laxing not finishing off both the injured members, only one of them, doesn't really make a big difference there because his teammate can make the difference instead when he comes back to the bomb side. But because it's Finger, you pop that Adrenal Surge, now all of a sudden your SMG-11 has to kill 2 members. One getting revived right in front of you, the other one is going to be right behind him after that fact, and you simply just ran out of bullets in the SMG-11 to get both of those kills. Any other weapon there, that could be a different outcome. Shotgun in hand, maybe a different outcome. But the matter of the fact is, Finger in those situations where a member is injured is so hard to deal with as a defending operator. And that right there is Mirage stealing a round off OXG. It was a nice play from Laxing, hiding and waiting and buying his time. But it does not end up rewarding them even in the slightest. Reading bomb site instead. We're just gonna try and see what works right now if you are OXG, of course. It's only a second defending round, so it's not all bad right now. And I think reading kind of plays into their favor a little bit more because you get more room to work with. You get the verticality, which they love to play around. We saw Dream earlier, again, also using shotgun vertically on Kitchen. And we'll have to see if Mirage can deal with the setup. I like Melted going on Twitch because when you play Reading, when you play top floor, there's a bunch of like dead zones on the map where defenders can't really play in, and those Twitch drones can get a ton of value driving around, clearing ADSs, utility, jammers, etc. Kite claws, for example, and that's kind of why Twitch is so commonly played on Kafe.
Also, the F2 is a phenomenal gun in the hands of some people. Yeah, if he can control the recoil, which some players say they cannot, for what it's worth.
True.
But if you can, you'll be in good spot. The gun that is easiest to control for a lot of these players is the LMG that is brought by Finka and Fuse, and it's no surprise the 2 LMG mains on the team, the 2 Finka mains, are lighting it up right now. 8 kills for Kento leads his team, 10 kills for Newers leads his own.
No way.
Oh my, Laxing gets away with that. How on earth? Seems like he runs right past a drone. Not sure if that's what it was on the floor. Certainly looked like it. But again, for the second round in a row, OXG's very first kill comes from a play out a window. First Foxay's a spawn peek, and then Laxing's jump out.
Yep, that's gonna stop you a bit because Kento and Finger off the board means less injury potential and of course less clutch potential as well. If anybody takes damage now from the side of Mirage, they can't get healed right back up, and that confidence that they overheal from the Adrenal Surge gives you is also removed with that too. OXG with full top floor control so far, Melted on Scala, 2 people outside of this tree area, or Christmas. Means that Mirage is looking to execute on the door perhaps, but you can't just walk into sight, that's way too difficult.
Unless the site is wide open, as we've seen before.
We have.
Oxygen did it to Mirage when Mirage had completely moved off of Kitchen. Most of the focus from Mirage seems to be on the peripheries, just outside of the bomb site. Again, you can't just walk right in. Will OXG give them the same space that was given to them? 1 minute to go to find out.
Doesn't look like it so far. I mean, we're holding our ground, sitting still, and Laxing finds Mom. It's going to slow Mirage down further. A good refrag and re-injury from Melted and Nurks, but they're going to need more than this.
Melted on white stairs as the numbers are balanced out into a 3v3. Nix feels that there might be one inside a train. He's right. Melted is not too far away. A smoke will go down to maybe give some cover. Foxay has that small angle that he's watching at the top of white stairs on the second floor. Dream is there for backup as well, inside of the bomb site. Dream loves that SMG-11, but a shotgun is available too if he's rocking it. Just an explosive that goes off. Nix around the doorway, taken out by Laxing. Still in this position, but Laxing pulls out the sidearm. He's going to be fought from inside of Laundry, Melted on the ground. This is ugly, but all of a sudden Laxing is 4 kills. Oh. Ace denied, but it's Dream to get the final. What a play by Laxing, starting it off with the jump out of the window and then collecting all but the remaining kill that his teammates mop up.
He had the 1 bullet left and he went for it, and unfortunately he did not get it. It would have been nice to add that to the montage collection, but here we see the jump out, right back in, takes down members of Nux on the door. The pistol whip onto Melted, and then the final bullet just did not land on the head of his opponent. 4-4 scoreline, tied up now. Once again, we're close. And it's nobody's game just yet. The mining bomb site is where we'll go next. It is OXG on defense, it is Mirage on the attack. Mirage had a bit of a slow start last round, maybe because Laxing, you know, got that early opening kill of Kento, which is one of the entry players from Mirage. I'm sure that played a big part of it. Laxing now also going off the Kaid onto the Echo to gain information for his team and to play around that gadget tree. Knowing Mirage also running quite low on time, this could be very useful for this mining defense.
Mining defense. So every single bomb site has now been played, Nick. There's no cocktail up top to be had. I guess OXG are just not party people, I suppose. So instead, the festivities will be down below.
Yep.
I suppose you could still have a bit of a party and dining, but that's not really the point. Either way, you don't want to be mining anything after you've imbibed some adult beverages. Let's put it that way. Don't operate heavy machinery.
That's true, I suppose. You know, you could do the good old technique with like the water and the thing. You know, that could work. The strainer.
The mining. Oh, the old
yeah,
like
you strain with
prospecting.
water. Yeah.
Prospecting. Strain with water. It's not a thing of noodles.
It kind of is though.
The noodles could look gold, I suppose.
Yeah, golden noodles.
Who knows? I'm no noodleologist. So either way. Also, you will notice, not to sell out for all of you, but you've maybe had a keen eye. There's a couple new skins that are available in-game. The Sonic's MP5 skin is actually being used by Fox-A right now. Yes, the R6 share skins are out the second round. You've seen them here and there.
Here and there.
You have seen them here and there.
We've seen them quite often, actually.
They've been on a number of guns so far today. There's a soft wall being spotted now as Mirage, 1 minute into this round, will focus on Piano and maybe even the side of Cocktail. Clear out that top floor, the third floor, and then move over towards Piano. If you want to pull off an execute onto this mining and dining bomb site, Piano is so crucial for you to hold because it is directly over top of the adjoining room between the bomb sites. And that's where Kento is. Not a lot of contest from OXG in this position. Instead, Vertical will set down a Kiba barrier and drop down to the white stairs to get the attention of Mirage and maybe force them to drone again with half of the round gone.
I like this rotation from Mirage though, taking a white stairs repel while pushing up the white hallway, holding one angle each, now cleaning up top floor. The only thing is, there's only a minute and 15 seconds left to go, so we gotta start speeding up here if you are Mirage, because if you take too long, well, the Echo comes into play, and those yokai drones, well, if you're planning with 7 seconds left, that bomb is not gonna go down, and Laxing's all the way in the bottom floor of the map, so clearly he's playing around that win condition. You got 1 C4 left in the pocket as well of Dream, who can do a ton of damage if anybody up above gets to find it below their feet.
Ask Nyx what happens when a yokai drone is left up. And better yet, ask Reciprocity, who are now OXG, what happens when a yokai drone gets left up. So if anybody understands it,
oh no,
it's going to be them. Information with 30 seconds left in the round, particularly crucial, and this time it's Laxing's yokais that are doing the job, spotting out the sledge from above. Nyx holding that very crucial angle, so Vertical will retake and might be able to take him out of action. Melted with 1 kill, but the first goes to Newers before he gets traded back. Kento to march over towards 90, while the diffuser in Melted's hands is going down and seems to be successful. Nobody can really stop it, but there you go. Melted gun down. Vertical on the floor. Kento a kill of his own. It's a mess inside of the site, but with only 5 seconds left. Mirage need to retrieve the diffuser and be safe enough to plant it. Kento will do that, but here it comes. The drone up to the ceiling. Does he get it in time? Yes, he does. OXG, once the victims of a last-second yokai, the beneficiaries, they take their second round in a row, and they stretch their lead.
Imagine all that chaos on the side, and then there's Laxing in the bottom floor of kitchen saying, I got the yokai guys, just sit tight, and he gets in there, denies it twice, spots out the planter, vertical assistance from his teammate as well from above in Piano, and ultimately secures the round. And we were worried about the time on the side of Mirage because they were just going too slow, perhaps not knowing that Echo is even on the board until it stunned him with the yokai. That's gonna force the last tactical timeout available as OXG burnt theirs after round 3, and Mirage have now burnt theirs after round number 9. So no more parachutes from either team. We're going in the way that we are, and its scoreline is 5-4 in favor of OXG, with Mirage on attack and OXG on defense.
Good time for a timeout right now, as Mirage have still been a very sticky team, but again, not to rain on Mirage and not to sound like a broken record, but if the structured OXG that actually seems to be taking Mirage seriously as a foe had shown up in those first 3 rounds, I have to ask myself, where would the matchup be right now?
Possibly over, but also could be a similar situation. We simply cannot know, but if we were to assume the obvious or the logical, I think it would have been like a 7-2 scoreline kind of vibe. But we cannot talk about things that we do not know too much. So we'll have to see if Mirage can fight this now and take us all the way to OT or victory on their behalf. Because ever since OXG showed up after round 3, or in round 3 rather, it has been a different story. A little bit more one-sided. You see Laxing having way too much fun with these different flex operators, now bringing out the Frost of all things. And there's nothing more tilting if you are an attacker than to jump in a window and get Frost matted or Pock matted right after. It's one of those things that just suck. Vertical, bring out the Bandit because Thatcher is open and also in play by Nuke, so they can successfully trick these walls. What this means is that Mirage will have to basically go upstairs to top floor, or to first floor rather, and do vertical damage control down towards the bomb side to stop Vertical from Bandit tricking the wall, so that they can't just go for a straight bakery kitchen attack like OXG did themselves on their side. It looks like they want to challenge it. They could try, but if Vertical plays it right, it should not work for them. There's no way.
There's no way. No, they just spotted him.
Yeah, he turned.
No, they did not apparently. Oh, good God, Laxing. Now he's in a tough spot, though, because the wall to the right of him is soft, and if they play this well, they can lean around it and pick him off. But look at this standoff that we have going on. The Thermite will try to circle around. Laxing sees him. How do they not?
Laxing, the Rat King in a rat corner finds the second victim in the round. That's tough.
I am lost for words.
The round is basically over. There's no Thermite.
There's no Thermite. There's no Finka. Your 2 most critical operators right now are gone. You've got 2 anti-gadget utility operators in the Thatcher and the Twitch available. But other than that,
got Flank Watch.
You just took a timeout, and one of the most important things, which is clearing your corners, droning out. You need to do something about it. 3 kills from Laxing. He got a quad, by the way, just 2 rounds ago. Desperately trying to outpace Newers, and he's done so successfully this round.
That he has. Laxing looking for his potential ace.
Don't say. Oh,
okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Jinxed it now.
Maybe I want to jinx it because, you know, it's too easy this time around. It's not earned the right way.
It's a slow fire rate on that weapon, but it doesn't matter. Laxing is still making those shots count. Both remaining players from Mirage outside of the building in really tough shape. All 5 still up for Oxygen. A vault in for Melted is safe unless
there's a frost
swings.
Trap.
There's a frost trap underneath it, so that would be a kill for Laxing, wouldn't it? Technically getting the down.
It would.
Benji above, he can go to brown stairs as well. We'll do just that.
Oh no, he got it.
Melted gets the frost mat, jumps on in. Benji's not too far off. Newer's the first line of defense, but he wants to survive as long as he can. Never mind. It's a nice shot onto Benji, softens up Melted, but with 30 seconds left, it's a 1v5. Melted taking damage from farther on down, and it was close a couple times, but Oxygen finally pulls off the flawless round, and they do so by moving to match point.
Yeah. I don't think there's much to say about that round. I think that's just it's a very unfortunate situation, but we have to talk about the elephant in the room is that it doesn't happen because you're unlucky or because that it's bad timing. This happens because that the person joining you in was lazy and did not check the corner and you paid the price. And the worst thing isn't even that it happened once. The worst case, or the worst thing about this is the fact that it happened twice. Nobody joined prep. The wall wasn't opened up. Normally you'd open the prep wall first, then get the kitchen wall after. That way you make sure that nobody can push the prep wall as you go for that Thermite breach. But also, even if they had tried to breach the wall, there's a bandit on the other side, which they would know because the wall was electrified earlier on, and they maybe assumed it was a kite, that's possible, but you can't just assume these things at this level of play. There's a drone hole in the red hallway, that can check the bandit. There's a verticality up above you if you take mining control. You can use to deny the claw or the bandit battery itself, and you can drone through prep in towards the bombs because there's no mute jammers. But none of those things are done. 2 members were lost, the round was over, it's match point for OXG now, and Mirage need to kind of redeem themselves here.
I mean, redemption needs to come, but I mean, Mirage got those 3 rounds when Oxygen didn't look like they were playing their full game, and since then, Mirage has been able to get a single round, and they've made some mistakes along the way. I will say that Mirage's defense looked a lot better than Mirage's attack.
Yes.
Mirage on defense, on a map like Kafe, fair enough. This is definitely a map where a newer team is going to be better on those defenses because it's easier to defend in most cases than it is to attack. Maybe not now with attacker repick, but in general, the rule of thumb is that if you are an inexperienced team or an unpracticed team, defense is easier. So of course Mirage will do better on defense. A lot more for them to accomplish on attack, and I'm sure they will go and study it once this matchup is done, win or lose. That said, lose is the more likely of the 2 options just because OXG is on match point, so Mirage have 2 rounds to stave off defeat.
That they do, and this is the first one that they had to overcome. It's a bit of a slow start, 1 minute passed, and like no real presence been achieved or set anywhere on the map. Laxing looking to jump out if he hears the rappel sound on the white window, which is there. Of course, the person rappelling is holding and expecting this play from Laxing, so it will not go unpunished right now if that would be the case. I think OXG can hold on here. I think they recognize that they have a lot of time on their hands. They don't got to make any plays right now. They got more than half the round to go. Yeah, and Laxing will stay alive.
No. Laxing still above. No cocktail defense so far from Oxygen. Their 3-site rotation leads them right back to Reading Room. The only bomb site they lost on was Kitchen. It's now in the books. Doesn't need to come out again. Vertical gets cut off by Kento.
Oh, Laxing.
But Laxing still has a spot. They read him through the wall. Perfectly done. Nicely played by Mirage to get these 2 opening picks. Okay. This round, far more winnable than the previous 3 that we've seen.
That's a wall bang and a half. If I'm Laxing, I'm pissed in that scenario. Now you gotta see Dream, Foxy, and Newer swinging for their lives. You cannot play on the bomb side and expect any miracles to happen. You gotta be the one to take that into your own hands. Look for engagements, look for a kill, look for an opportunity. You have a prep C4 on the floor that can go out any moment from Foxy. But that's all you got right now.
Still clutch potential for OXG with the way that they've played, but things looking quite dire. Melted. Oh, you just missed out on an opportunity towards Brown Stairs. It's a battle to the death, but instead you've got a job to be done. The thing is with Mirage having these 2 players up that Oxygen doesn't, you can hold those flanks and make it so that if somebody tries to get back to the bomb site in a cute way, they're not going to be anywhere near as effective. Marm gets the diffuser down. Ooh. Now it's Newer's under fire. Foxy the retake from above. Newer's spotted out. What can he accomplish? Benji's not too far off. They know where he is. Yellow ping goes out. Foxy still from above, making quite a bit of noise, but Newers is down, so it needs to be a clutch from the team captain. And he's found 3 kills so far. But the diffuser will be the bigger issue. 30 seconds for him to get back to the bomb site. Thinks there's going to be one at close range. He sees the foot. Does a lot of damage and actually gets the kill on Marm. That's a quad. An ace will need to happen. He knows the positioning. This is very doable. Shotgun out, onto the diffuser. Bait him out. Bait him out. Where is Benji when he pushes? Foxy's there, but Benji's better. Benji shuts it down. Mirage shuts it down. A clutch denied, and it's still match point for OXG. But goodness, Mirage.
Way too close. I mean, oh my god. I mean, the wallbang here, first of all, to Laxing, he just gets sold short. But Foxy getting 4 kills, all headshots. That cheeky foot shot with the shotgun as well. Had he gotten Benji there, that would have been a miracle and a half. And what a way to end things off. But Mirage, they fight back and they look alive. OXG gave them too much ground. Nobody held the wide hallway. Nobody was swinging around. There was no Banshees who stopped them. No information to be had. That's why Laxing, once again, this mighty defense will bring out the Echo to gain some visual information with the Valkyrie being banned out by OXG themselves. And last time, if I need to remind you, it was Mirage attacking on mining, and they were so slow that the Yokai ended up winning OXG the round with bomb site deny as well as information gain. So Mirage, do the same as you did the last round. Speed up your gameplay, and as I say that, Marm attacker repicking onto Amaru, and Nurks attacker repicking onto the Ying. This could easily be like a, basement up the hatch, Amaru into dining, Ying throwing everything out at dining window repel kind of rush strat. And honestly, if you're Mirage right now, you need a Hail Mary. So I don't think going for a, cheese strategy, if you will, is a bad choice. I think it could be quite efficient. I don't think OXG will see this coming either.
Well, it might be to their undoing. Mirage have now tied the single best result that they had for this season, which are the 5 rounds that they got in the previous matchup against Space Station. It was a 7-5 victory for SSG, but still 5 rounds in a losing effort is as close as you're going to get prior to overtime. the desk speculated, if you didn't watch the segment, that Mirage would not be a 0-point team, but they need to either win a match or get to overtime to finally break the 0-0-0-4 streak that they are on right now. And, well, they're one round away from it. But they're one player farther from OT as Nyx is taken off of the board, and that is the Ying, possibly the most crucial part of this rush strat that you talked about.
They needed it. I mean, and you see the strat. Marm is in the first floor, so they were indeed going to go up the dining hatch and plant as predicted, but they need Nyx's Ying to create the distraction and the chaos for that to work, because his entire strategy is to get the diffuser down, and I don't think that's going to happen without Nyx, but we'll have to wait and see, because I think Mirage is still going to go for it.
We can speculate all we want as to whether or not they're going to be able to pull it off. Newers will be the last line of defense should that happen, as he's in the middle of the bomb site. OXG are spread quite thoroughly throughout, and here it comes. You're absolutely right. But a Nitro Cell Greets melted. There's no coverage now, so when Marm goes, there will be nobody to watch. She would just be ending up in the middle of the bomb site, dead, completely unguarded. This is a heartbreaking round for Mirage. It means that they're going to need to go back to their bag of tricks because they're not able to pull off what they had hoped for. Up brown stairs is Kento, though. So maybe just a straight site execute on that mid floor is exactly what they need.
Absolutely. I mean, now you can just play time, because in Mirage, they're scrambling to get the piece and they need like a backup plan right now, but I don't think this is going to be much of a plan, but more of a slaughter.
And Newers picks up his third kill. What is it with these OXG players streaking, and suddenly they're all his to be found. A quad kill for Newers, and he gets the ace on a flawless round. Every kill breaks in his favor, and just like that, Mirage again denied a point as OXG sweeps through on their defense 7-5.
Almost 3 aces that game, by the way. Laxing had his chances twice. Well, actually, almost 4. Laxing almost had his chance twice. Foxy had a 4K, and then you actually did have an ace on Newers in this final round as well. So very explosive match, we can say.
Look at how gentle these hugs are. Also, I don't even see Laxing there. Where is...
Laxing isn't in the team house.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That is right.
He lives on his own.
That he does.
Yes. So, well, unfortunately for Laxing, no soft and comforting man hug from any of your teammates. But, I mean, it doesn't matter whether you get the hug or not. You got the win. And
hugs do matter. And him and Foxy have been duos for like 4 years. So I feel like he's got hugs in the bank, if anything.
Hugs do matter. You're absolutely correct.
Thank you.
3 big points for OXG. The desk speculated that Mirage would not be a 0-point team. While they're 0-0-5, they still are searching for point number 1 in this stage. They got 4 more playdays to do it, so it's entirely possible. And they are getting better.
They are.
But after OXG tightened things up, it was a runaway train for Oxygen. That said, that's it for our matches, but we have one final closing segment on the desk for you. Before we get there, a break is ready. Sit tight, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
So barely fine, right? Only kings around me, all this gold, now why I shine bright. Yeah, you hella fine, right? Hey, you looking like the wine and dine type. I'm basking in that limelight. Brody, get your chip stack, I'll teach you, I'm the wise guy. I'm getting right back that shit I'm sending out with vibe wise. You know we good on this side. I feel a black power.
Coming, let me see it. On a mission, best believe it. Ask for it, you receive it. Dollars coming, let me see it. Ask for it, you receive it.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Rainbow Six North American League Analyst Desk. Your host, Doa, here, along with Caliber, Jacob, Jesse J. Chick, and our guest analyst for the week, Joe Bro. What's up?
Hey.
Dancing up a storm over there. And you know what? Oxygen probably dancing too. They got the win over Mirage, but probably not the happiest dance in the world because it still was fairly close. Props to Mirage for putting 5 rounds on the board against OXG, but I mean, if we're honest with ourselves, OXG kind of trolling the beginning of that one.
5 rounds, I think, is the most painful number of rounds that you can get in a game because you came so close and you still walk away with 0 points overall in the stage. This is the second time in a row that Mirage has gotten 5 points or 5 rounds, and 0 points to show for it. That's tough.
I mean, it's showing that their online performance seems like it's getting better because they couldn't put up 5 rounds in any of the 3 games they played prior to this that weren't on stage. But yeah, this is still pretty bad. Credit where credit is due. I think Kento had a pretty decent game in spite of being the one that was sidelined and the reason why Mirage were not able to play on stage with everybody else, but still, Newers with 18 kills would look considerably more impressive if they didn't chuck those first 3 rounds in the bin before actually playing real Siege in this game.
Yeah.
And I know it's tough because you're playing at home, you're online. It's not the best, like, mentally, but this win doesn't also instill confidence in Oxygen going into an Astralis matchup tomorrow, with Astralis winning huge today, right? And just coming off that surge of having DP Fire back. So I think, like, for me, if I'm looking at Oxygen, Astralis right now is in 5th, Oxygen's in 6th. 1 point difference. So if you're Oxygen, you need to show up in that game and win strong. And Astralis is just going to be able to, I think, wipe. So
I mean, we'll see what it is. Is it Oxygen just genuinely playing a little bit under their potential, or are they like Goku with the big weights on, and they're just like in the training chamber, and now they're going to take them off tomorrow for Oxygen?
I do think that what you said about they need to go into this game assuming that they're going to get 3 points, they did, but it was way too close. I feel like they got the idea of this is a free game, and it was before it was actually done and dusted. They went into those first 3 rounds. It wasn't pretty. And then you call a timeout, you fix those issues, you get the team back on track, you play like a normal OXG team would, I think, without giving too much away. And that's the nice part about Kafe is you didn't play this at all during Charlotte. You played it twice during stage 1, and you were 1-1 on it. It wasn't a map you were proficient with. So this is the kind of environment where it is perfect. Just get out with your 3 points and not worry too much about the future, but still, you came way too close to throwing this one away.
I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal, right? After those first 3 rounds went down, they went, what, 7 rounds out of 9 overall? And the 2 rounds that they won, the 2 rounds that they didn't win, I should say, were Kento getting the clutch and then Benji getting the 1v1 to stop Fox from almost saving a round that he had 0 business winning.
True. True enough, true enough. Well, let's take a look at some rounds in particular. Let's start with round number 9. And this was one of those fun rounds that you can have if you're using those yokai drones to their full potential.
Nice to see, Redeemer was standing behind them, Laxing bringing out the Echo. I'm sure Redeemer was happy about that. This was such a clutch play. It didn't look like he got this, but Laxing actually being able to, it was so close. First, Fox killing the person with the defuse kit means that it's on the ground. That just adds a little bit more time. That's going to stop them from placing this down. Then Kento gets going. If that doesn't happen, arguable how this one plays out. But he gets up, he just shoots. We get frame by frame, aims, fires, barely, and pushes Kento off the kit.
See, the worst part about that is understanding the guy who had to retrieve the diffuser to go. That was Kento. When he was already having a pretty good game statistically, if Nick somehow was the one who picks that up instead, or anybody aside from your Finka goes for it, maybe you have a chance to still win that one. But because of the split-second timing, the guy who was assigned to shoot the yokai was just too late. Blast hits, can't get the diffuser back down. Easy OXG win.
Yeah, there you go. Speaking of some OXG wins, we're going to talk about individual kills for Laxing in the very next round, round number 10. And this also highlights a problem that's kind of plagued Mirage a lot this stage too, which is improper droning.
I mean, here's the thing. In this clip, Laxing is in a position where you should drone anyway. You should at the very least look in this direction, but the drone doesn't see him. He's not even playing in a rat spot. This isn't a spot where you normally sit, and yet Mirage still don't do the basics and check it. This is a thing that Laxing has been doing for ages. You have to check every individual angle because there's always a chance that he could be sitting here. So now Mirage know that there's someone there. but they don't know how far back he's gone. They don't know if he's still in a spot. Bam! Another kill right back behind Bakery, and he'll scamper away and do the exact same thing again. He ends up getting another kill in a similar spot, like back by rice bags before you get to prep, but it's still the same case that Mirage fell into last week. Drone everything, or you won't know what to react from.
Yeah, and looking at that round too, especially like the first guy dies. Maybe, yes, it was a missed round, but maybe that's okay.
Sure.
In that situation, because then you can get the trade, right? But then everyone walks in, and they're not even gun up looking for a trade. They're just looking for the space, assuming he's gone. And yeah, you lose another one. You lose another one after that, and you're just like, all right, go next.
Yeah.